Okay, great. So, habits are the compound interest of self development. And we all know that compound interest is one of the greatest wonders of the world. And I was extremely intrigued when I first came across this concept of habits and the tracking and etc. But when I tried the system for myself, I realized that it isn't as easy as it seems. It involves lots of constant improvisation of our system. What works for someone else might not work for you, and let me tell you one thing. It's great that you all are here today because Toastmaster Komal is going to share with us some of her experiences, tips, and more. So let's get started with some basic rules of the meeting. Let me please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. Also, rename yourself by prefixing your meeting role, or with Toastmaster if you're the member, or with guest if you're a visiting Toastmaster. Please put your mobile phones in silent to avoid any distractions when you get chance to speak. Be cognizant of the body movement, multitasking, and backgrounds when use the chat box for any questions or comments. Please clap or use the clap emoticon when the control is transferred. When you begin speaking, the correct protocol, which I forgot, is that you have to greet in the following manner: Good evening, presiding officer, Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guests. So let me welcome you all again to this meeting, to this very exciting meeting, by also handing over to the presiding officer, Toastmaster Santosh, who is a very energetic person. And over to you, Toastmaster Santosh.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hina, to start this meeting in a wonderful way. And welcome to all. Let me first call this meeting in, in order. Welcome to all 289 chapter meeting Bane Toastmaster Club. Very good evening, district officer, fellow Toastmaster, and dear guests. Do we have any guest? Yes, we have one guest, Vivek. Hello,
Hey, hi,
Vivek.
thanks. Hey, hi, thanks.
So, Vivek, could you share your your introduction with us? Means that from where you get to know about this meeting and what is your expectation from this meeting?
So actually, just I search on Google, so that's why I got there is a club in Baner. So Baner Toastmaster. So just I call Viva, I think morning. So the Viva shared me the number of I think yours. I also called, but yeah, I think you might be away. But then I called Shubham. I think Shubham Pick and Shubham give me the detailed links of this meeting. So that's how I joined this call. But yeah, let me introduce myself first. So myself, Vivek. So I'm a software employee. So I have 10 years of experience, and so I'm working in Deutsche Bank. And so yeah, but so joining this club as a just I came to know that this is something that this club is holding multiple activities, enhancing leadership skills and overall uh, experience of public speaking and everything. So just I get to know, and here also one wonderful thing is for this club is there are people involved from multiple uh, faculties or multiple environments. So that's get to know each other. So that's the main agenda. So yeah, and thanks for welcoming me. Such a warm welcome that I received. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, guest Vivek. Let me speak a little bit about the Toastmaster. If you think that public speaking, communications, and leadership skills are important for your professional and personal life, then you have fallen in the right place. Toastmaster International, non-profit organization, allow us, help us, or hone us three skills. These are communications, public speaking, and leadership skill. Toastmaster International, having the global footprint in 145 countries, more than 300,000 active members, and more than 60,000 clubs around the globe. I feel proud that I am part of such a big family. If you want to know more about Toastmaster International and Bane Toastmaster, please connect our BPM Toastmaster Shivani. So this is introduction of the Toastmasters. But today,
Yeah, sure. We'll connect. Yeah.
thank you. So today meeting is very special because today we are going to elect our new XCOM member. As we know that Toastmaster provide the platform to hone your communications and leadership skills. So today we have the opportunities to learn leadership skill by practical. So in this process, we have election officer who is the finest leader, great speaker, and asset of this club. So please welcome Toastmaster Sanjay on the virtual stage as an election officer. Toastmaster Sanjay.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Presiding Officer, and all of the members who've joined us. Am I clearly audible and visible? Okay, kindly pardon me for I've joined from my mobile phone. I did drop a message in the group, and I hope all of you seen that there's a power outage owing to which I'm not able to join from my laptop. But I think I'm doing just fine, and I will be able to manage the elections with just this, obviously with the support of a presiding officer and the president for this current term, Toastmaster Santosh. Setting the context right for the elections, the first thing that I would request is I would request presiding officer Toastmaster Santosh to help me certify the quorum and whether we met the quorum for the elections to happen.
Yes, we have 60 member in the room. The
Okay,
quorum is
Toastmaster
met.
Santosh, I hope you haven't joined from another device yet.
No, I haven't joined.
Okay, all right. Another point, presiding officer, that I would request is during the elections, the guests will not be able to vote. So do you
Sure.
suggest giving the guests the co-host rights, or should we request our guest Vivek to join back again? What do you suggest?
I would say that we make the guest co-host
Okay,
for
sure.
a moment.
So,
Yeah.
okay, sure. So guest Vivek, you can observe the proceedings of the elections as a guest. Yeah, and as you can see, you're the co-host now. We are sure, there is no muting, unmuting that you would be doing. But the idea, Vivek, is since the elections are going to happen, only the club members have a voting right to say so. And that's the reason we will be going ahead in the same manner. Also, I would request that the waiting room be enabled. Toastmaster Santosh, can you help me with that, please? You're speaking on mute.
Waiting room enable.
Yeah, if you can go to security and get the waiting room enabled, since we would not want any other members to join. Yeah.
Just
Enable
second.
waiting room. Can you see that option?
Log the meeting. Yes.
Yes.
Done.
So in case anyone joins, we'll keep them waiting in the waiting room till such time the elections are over. And before we start the installation, we can let them in. So at the moment, I see there are 18 members, excluding our guest.
Yes.
There are 17 active members who have joined us. And Toastmaster Santosh, I hope you're good to get started.
Yes, we can go.
Okay, great. Good evening, everyone. Just before we jump into the proceedings of the elections and before we talk about anything at all, there's a funny thing that I am expected to do as a part of my role right now, which is to check if you are you. Yes, you heard that right. Before we start, we'll just have to quickly check. All of you, please turn your videos on once. All of the members who are here, no matter what condition you are in or what condition your background is in, please turn on your videos. Great. Good to see all of you. Can I request Narayanan, Amit, Saish, Shivani, and Vibha to turn the videos on, please? Okay, Amit and Vibha, are you with us? Yes, I can see Amit. Oh, Amit, you look in a clearly stretched shape. Vibha, are you with us? Okay. If you can just turn it on and turn it off again, that would be fine. I'm sure it is you, Vibha, who's joined. There's no one else who's used your profile picture to join, but we'll just have to do this since it's an online election.
Yes, Sanjay, it's me.
Okay, great. I confirm from your voice that it is you who's joined us.
Great.
And with
Thanks.
that, yes, I would encourage all of you to keep your videos on. It's really nice to see all smiling faces across. But if you choose to turn your videos off, then no problem at all. With that being done, it's time we jump into the elections. It's going to be a very important day for our club today. Now, as all of you already know, that there is a current executive committee that is serving Baner Toastmasters Club, led by the president Toastmaster Santosh, and there are 6 other officers, in total 7. They've been doing a fabulous job so far, and I am sure that in the last few meetings that they have, last couple of weeks that they have with the club in office, they are going to do absolutely well in transitioning to the incoming team. Now, a moment before we jump into the proceedings of the elections, it's important all of us as members understand why we have club elections, why we have a club executive committee in the first place. Now, it would be very difficult if all of us want to suggest, if all of us want to make decisions, if all of us want to lead and own various responsibilities, various tasks that the club has to perform. For the very same reason, we have club elections that happen once in 6 months for our clubs. And there is a 6 month term in office for the executive committee that is elected by the members. It's an absolutely democratic process. And it is good to see that, not while not all members, it's good to see that 17 of us have joined today as we choose our new executive committee for the upcoming term, that is January to June 2022. Now, with regards to the proceedings and the process of the elections, all of you would know that the proceedings had started 3 weeks back when our presiding officer, our president, Toastmaster Santosh, sent out an email. Firstly, he set up a committee, an election committee, comprising of Toastmaster Parijat, past president of our club, Toastmaster Santosh, who is the current president, and myself. So that made 3 members as a part of the election committee. Nominations were asked for, and owing to various reasons, we received just an okay response. We'll talk about that later. But the whole idea being we had to postpone the earlier planned date of the elections from last week, that was 11th of December, to today, that is 18th of December. Now, in the course of this duration, nominations were invited from the members of the club to fulfill or serve in various executive committee positions. I will be presenting a report of how many nominations were received per position, how many packed out, and how many we have in total today for the elections. Now, for reasons, very obvious reasons, which are well known, I would like to reiterate that a slate was not sent 1 week advance, or we did not publish a slate in the last meeting. As per the protocols and bylaws of Toastmasters, it is okay if the slate has not been published as long as we have the members here to contest the elections, since on the floor nominations are also allowed for the club elections. Now, the nominations that we had received for the role of president, we had 1 nomination. For the role of VP Education, we had 1 nomination. For the role of Vice President Membership, we had 2 nominations, out of which one person backed out. For the role of Vice President Public Relations, we have 2 nominations. For the role of Secretary, we have no nominations. For the role of Treasurer, for the my apologies, for the role of Secretary, we had 1 nomination, but due to a backout, we have no nominations at the moment. For the role of Treasurer, we have 1 nomination. And for the role of Sergeant at Arms, we have no nominations. Now, in the duration that I've been talking about over the last few weeks, these members were spoken to very recently, and the committee has proposed or is proposing a nomination slate. I will read that out right now for all of you, and the elections will and further explain the election process. So the slate, the way I read out, is for the role of president, we have Toastmaster Shubham. For the role of Vice President Education, this is Toastmaster Saish. For the role of Vice President Membership, we have Toastmaster Preet. For the Vice President Public Relations, we have Toastmaster Ashish. For Secretary, we have no names at the moment. For the role of Treasurer, we have Toastmaster Harshad. And for Sergeant at Arms, we have no nominations at the moment. Please remember that this is only a recommendation of the committee that has interacted with these members and suggested the names forward. However, it is your decision as a club to choose whom you think is appropriate to serve in these positions. Now, with regards to the proceeding of the election, the election, or the first election that will happen, will be starting with the role of the president, going on to the Vice President Education, Membership, Public Relations, till the Sergeant at Arms. This is to ensure that if there is a member who's nominated for one of the offices, and if by chance does not get elected to that office, that person can still run from the floor for any of the other offices. I repeat, if a person is not chosen to one office, that person is free to run from the floor for any other position for all the other offices that we're talking about. In addition to that, all the members who joined us, all active members of the club, are free to nominate themselves from the floor for any of the proceedings, for any of the offices out of the 7. I will be calling out, I will be requesting if there are any floor nominations. I'll be doing that twice. You need to raise your hand using the raise hand option in Zoom, and that is when we will acknowledge and we will add that going. Now, what happens if there is there are not 2 people, and if there's only 1 person? I will request Toastmaster Santosh, who's the acting secretary for this particular meeting, to help me, since he's a part of the committee as well. I would request him to cast a vote in favor of the only candidate that we have. And it's just obviously going to be a virtual or an imaginary vote, and we will be going ahead with that person chosen into that particular office. In case there are 2 people for any particular position, we will have a pitch given by each one of these members. They will be given 2 minutes to speak to the club on why they need to be chosen to that office, and we will be going in alphabetical order of their last name. I repeat, alphabetical order of their last name. Once both of them have finished speaking, a poll will be launched by the presiding officer and by our acting secretary, Toastmaster Santosh, and all of you can vote on the Zoom poll. Since Toastmaster Santosh is the host of the meeting, he will be joining in from an alternate device if the scenario for voting arises. Great. Do we have any questions from anyone before we move ahead?
No questions. Thank you, Toastmasters Sanjay.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Since there are no other questions, we're good to get started. All the best to everyone who's contesting today, and all the best to the club members as you are set to choose yet another executive committee of Barney Toastmasters Club. For the role of president, on the slate, we have Toastmaster Shubham. Is there anyone who would like to nominate from the floor? Anyone who would like to nominate from the floor? Do we have anyone who would like to nominate from the floor? Hearing none, I request Acting Secretary Toastmaster Santosh to cast a vote in favor of Toastmaster Shubham as the president for the executive committee for the term Jan to June 2022.
Yes, Toastmaster Sanjay, I'm casting the vote in favor of the Toastmaster Shubham as a president.
Members of the club, please put your hands together and welcome the president-elect for the upcoming term of Barney Toastmasters Club, Toastmaster Shubham. We will now move ahead to the next office for elections, which is the Vice President Education. On the slate for the Vice President Education, we have Toastmaster Saish. Do we have any other member who wishes to nominate from the floor? Anyone who wishes to nominate from the floor? Anyone who wishes to nominate from the floor? Hearing none, I request Acting Secretary Toastmaster Santosh to cast a vote in favor of Toastmaster Saish as the Vice President Education for the upcoming term.
Yes, Toastmaster Shubham, Toastmaster Sanjay, I'm casting the vote in favor of Saish as a Vice President of Education.
Members, please put your hands together for the Vice President Education elect for the upcoming term, Toastmaster Saish. We now move to the position or the election for the Vice President membership. For the Vice President membership, we have on the slate Toastmaster Preet. Do we have anyone else who would like to nominate from the floor? Anyone who would like to nominate from the floor for the position of Vice President membership? Anyone who would like to nominate from the floor? Hearing none after 3 attempts, I request Acting Secretary Toastmaster Santosh to cast a vote in favor of Toastmaster Preet as the Vice President membership for the upcoming term?
I'm casting the vote in favor of Toastmaster Preet as a Vice President of membership.
Members of the club, please put your hands together and welcome your Vice President membership elect for the upcoming term, Toastmaster Preet. We now move to the position of the Vice President Public Relations. On the slate for the position of the Vice President PR, we have Toastmaster Ashish. Club members, do we have any nominations from the floor? Do we have any nominations from the floor? Do we have any nominations from the floor? Hearing none, I request Toastmaster Santosh to please cast a vote in favor of Toastmaster Ashish as the Vice President Public Relations for the upcoming term of Bane Toastmasters Club.
Yes, I'm casting the vote in favor of Toastmaster Ashish as a Vice President of membership of Bane Toastmaster Club.
I think there's a correction, Vice President of Public Relations.
As a public relationship myself.
Okay, yes. Members of the club, please put your hands together and welcome your VPPR elect for the upcoming term, Toastmaster Ashish. Now, time for us to move to the role of the secretary. For the position of secretary, we have no one on the slate. Anyone who wishes to nominate from the floor? Okay, I have received a message in the chat box. I would request Toastmaster Komal to unmute and express her intent, please.
Hello, Toastmasters. Good evening. I would like to be a part of our committee, and for that, I would like to nominate myself for secretary post. And I think I'm able and I can do.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Komal. Sorry, I'll have to cut you off. We'll let you speak in case it's required. But members of the club, do we have any further nominations besides Toastmaster Komal for the position of secretary? Do we have any nominations for the role of secretary? Okay, since we have received just one nomination from the floor and there has been no nomination on the slate for the position of secretary, I request Acting Secretary Toastmaster Santosh to please cast a vote in favor of Toastmaster Komal as the secretary for the upcoming term.
Yes, I'm casting a vote in favor of Toastmaster Komal as a secretary of Bane Toastmaster Club.
Members of the club, please put your hands together and welcome our secretary elect for the upcoming term, Toastmaster Komal. Up next, for the position of treasurer, on the slate we have Toastmaster Harshad. Do we have any nominations from the floor? Do we have any nominations from the floor? Do we have any nominations from the floor? Hearing none, I request Acting Secretary Toastmaster Santosh to please cast a vote in favor of Toastmaster Harshad as the treasurer for the upcoming term.
I'm casting a vote in favor of the Toastmaster Harshad as a treasurer of next ExCom committee.
Members of the club, please welcome your treasurer-elect, Toastmaster Harshad. For the position of the Sergeant at Arms, we have no name on the slate. Do we have any nomination from the floor? Do we have any nomination from the floor for the position of Sergeant at Arms? Do we have any nomination from the floor for the role of the Sergeant at Arms for the upcoming term?
Toastmaster Sanjay, I'll nominate myself as for this position of Sergeant at Arms.
Great. That is Toastmaster Yatin, who's nominated himself for the role of the Sergeant at Arms. And as I have called out thrice and we have received only one nomination, anyone else would like to speak before I move on? Okay, hearing none, since there was no name on the slate and since we have received one nomination from the floor, that is that of Toastmaster Yatin, I request Acting Secretary Toastmaster Santosh to please cast a vote in favor of Toastmaster Yatin as Sergeant at Arms for the upcoming term.
Yes, I am casting the vote in favor of the Toastmaster Yatin as a Sergeant at Arms and Bahrain Toastmaster Club for next XCOM.
Club members, put your hands together and welcome your Sergeant at Arms elect, Toastmaster Yatin. Up next, for the position of the immediate past president. Oh wait, there is no election that is going to happen for that. We are at the end of the election proceedings, and I thank all of the members who joined us. Well, sadly, we've not gotten anything to do since there was no election contesting for any of the positions. I would request all of you to give a huge round of applause for all the executive committee officers who've been elected for the upcoming term. Presiding Officer Toastmaster Santosh, you can now disable the waiting room and let all the members who are in the waiting room join the meeting, if we have any. Okay. Now that the elections are done, I request all of you to stay with us for a few more moments while we have the installation of the elected officers. I see all the officers are in the meeting room except for Toastmaster Ashish, who hasn't been able to join us. I would request one of the members to please check with Toastmaster Ashish if he will be able to join. In case he has informed our presiding officer or VP Education earlier, you may please switch it. While that happens, wait a moment.
We are not able to connect with the Toastmaster Ashish at this
No
moment.
worries, we'll go ahead and we'll have his installation done on another occasion. Would the outgoing officers please raise your hand? You can use the raise hand option on Zoom so we see all of you right on top or in focus on the screen. May I request the outgoing officers to raise hand using the Zoom option, please? Okay. At this time, you are discharged from all of your duties and responsibilities with a star mark that you have another 13 days in office. Thank you for your excellent service to this club. Can we all clap for the excellent service that our outgoing XCOM has rendered to our club? Thank you so much. You can now lower your hands, please. I'm here to install the new officers of Barney Toastmasters Club, briefly state their key responsibilities, and to remind them of the challenges that lie ahead. Their collective challenge is to make this club one of the best in Toastmasters International. This will involve helping the members achieve their goals as well as leading the club to President's Distinguished Club status this coming year. Will the new officer team please come forward? May I request one of them to please spotlight them as I call them, starting from the Sergeant at Arms and ending with the President.
Toastmaster Sanjay, sorry to interrupt you, but I'm in no position to turn on my camera. So I'll appreciate if I could be given the permission to not turn on my camera while taking the oath.
Sure, you could do that. Yes. Okay, may I request all of you to lower your hands, please, for now. And as we call you upon, please lower your hands, everyone. All right. Before we move to the specific officers, each officer of the executive committee is obligated to attend monthly club executive committee meetings, attend club officer training held twice a year, prepare a successor for his or her respective office. I will now describe the challenges and key responsibilities for each officer, beginning with the Sergeant at Arms. Since we are not having an in-person meeting right now, and since there is no Gavin, I would request the officers who are able to turn their video on to please place their right hand on the shoulder. On their chest. Sorry, this is not a shoulder. Please place your right hand on your chest. Yeah, as I call out the names, since Toastmaster Yatin is not able to turn his video on, Toastmaster Yatin, you can raise your hand, please, using the word Zoom reaction, Zoom virtual options. Yeah. Okay. Toastmaster Yatin, as Sergeant at Arms, you arrange the meeting location. In this case, the meeting room of Zoom. Maintain club equipment in working order. Ensure that adequate club supplies are available. Set up the room before the meeting begins. Make all relevant education and PR materials are displayed. Attend to special equipment needs. Greet guests and help the president make sure the meeting begins on time. As you can see, most of the responsibilities are once the clubs start meeting in person. However, if the club meets in the hybrid format, arranging or helping arrange the equipment and other logistics to cater to a hybrid meeting will be a part of your role. Toastmaster Yatin, will you perform these duties to the best of your ability? Toastmaster Yatin, you are speaking on mute.
Sorry, did you get that, Toastmaster? Sorry.
Didn't hear that. Didn't hear that.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I will.
Great. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Yatin. We will now move to Toastmaster Harshad. Toastmaster Harshad, can you raise your hand, please? Or can you, yeah, it's right there. Okay, let's have Toastmaster Harshad spotlighted. I see that happening. Toastmaster Harshad, as treasurer, you keep financial records and prepare the club budget. Announce when it's time for members to pay dues. Explain the dues structure to members. Collect dues. Work with the secretary to ensure that the club submits dues promptly on time to Toastmasters International World Headquarters. Toastmaster Harshad, will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
Absolutely, absolutely. With utmost dedication, I would do that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Harshad. We will now move to Toastmaster Komal. Toastmaster Komal, as secretary, you maintain an accurate membership roster and attendance. Submit the new club officer list to Toastmasters International by June 30. Work with the treasurer to ensure that new member applications and dues get to Toastmasters International World Headquarters as soon as possible. Work with the treasurer to submit your club's renewal dues to Toastmasters International on time. Provide the club with minutes of each meeting. Toastmaster Komal, will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
Sure, I will do.
Thank you so much. We shall now move on. Okay, since we don't have the Vice President of Public Relations, Toastmaster Ashish, we will have the installation done on another meeting, another occasion. But now we will move on to the Vice President membership, Toastmaster Preet. Do we have Toastmaster Preet spotlighted? Yes, I see that right there. Toastmaster Preet, as VP membership, you lead the club's membership building efforts to achieve the membership goal of 8 new members. While the VP of PR motivates people to visit your club, you motivate the current members to invite guests. Promptly give new member applications and dues to the secretary and treasurer. Personally greet guests and provide them with guest packets in the online setup, send them information, including a membership application. Make sure each guest hears about the benefits of Toastmasters and gets a personal invitation to become a member. Represent your club at area council meetings. While you as VP membership will be responsible for new members of the club, you will also be looking at the retention of the existing members. Toastmaster Preet, as VP membership, will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
Yes, I will do that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Preet. We shall now move to Toastmaster Saish, who is the VP Education elect. Okay, I see Toastmaster Saish right here. Toastmaster Saish, as Vice President Education, you gain commitments from members to set educational goals for themselves. Assure that club members are aware of the schedule of meeting roles. Plan meetings that will assist members in meeting their goals. Work with club members to keep meetings fun and well run. Work with your members to ensure that they submit their applications for educational awards promptly. Provide for educational topics at club meetings such as those from the successful club series and better speaker series. Represent your club at area council meetings. As the second highest ranking officer, preside over the meeting when the president is absent. Toastmaster Saish, will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
Yes, and I'm dedicated and I sacrifice myself to the members of my club with fullest. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Saish. Toastmaster Shubham as the president-elect. Toastmaster Shubham, as president of Baner Toastmasters Club, you are the chief executive officer. Thus, you preside at all club meetings and all meetings of the club executive committee. It is your challenge to see that this club adds new members and meet the needs of its current members to achieve the communication and leadership goals. Establish a club climate that is supportive, stimulating, and rewarding to its members. Realize that among the resources available to you, a few are fellow club members, club officer team, club officers handbook, area director, division director, the District 98 website, and all other district officers. Toastmaster Shubham, you are placing your hand on your chest as a symbol of the power and authority that your club has given you during your term of office. I am confident that you will use it wisely and with restraint. Toastmaster Shubham, as a member of Baner Toastmasters Club, as well as its leader, will you work with your executive team and club members to make Baner Toastmasters Club a President's Distinguished Club this year?
Yes.
I will.
Yes, we will.
Great. All right. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shubham. Members of Baner Toastmasters Club, if possible, please turn your videos on and you can place your hand on your chest. I'm doing that as well. Club members, our officer team has just pledged to serve this club to the best of its ability, to be the best Toastmasters Club possible, and to meet the needs of all its members. Our club will need active participation from each one of us. Do we, as members, pledge to work together with our officer team to make Baner Toastmasters Club the finest Toastmasters Club it can possibly be?
Sure.
Yes.
We will do.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, we will.
Yes, will do.
By the authority vested in me as your election officer and installation officer for the day, it is my sincere pleasure to declare these Toastmasters officers installed in their respective club offices. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to the Baner Toastmasters Club executive team for the term January 2022 to June 2022. Let us give them all a good round of applause and wish them the very best for the upcoming term.
Congratulations.
Congrats, everyone.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Congrats.
Congrats, everyone.
Congrats, everyone.
Congrats, everyone.
Congratulations, everyone.
Congratulations, congratulations, everyone. Now, before we jump into the proceedings of our meeting, let me invite the President-elect Toastmaster Shubham for a few words to the club.
Yes. So thanks for giving me opportunity to address Baner Toastmasters Club. And I am committed to the role I taken, and I promise to serve all my duties and make the level of club that was from the time of you, Sanjay, and try to make it President Distinguished and meet all the challenges with the team and try to fix all the issues that team has facing and give all the resources that are required for any use.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shubham, President's Distinguished Club, and beyond. We are sure that you will keep the flag of Barnier Toastmasters Club flying high as usual and definitely strive to achieve higher. Members of the club, now my duties as the election officers are done, and I will now be handing the stage or the virtual screen back to our presiding officer, Toastmaster Santosh, for the further proceedings of the meeting. Thank you everyone for patiently listening to my very serious voice for the last 30 plus minutes. Thank you, and back to you, presiding officer.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sanjay, and thank you very much to helping to find us our new leaders and installing the new XCOM. And I want to congratulate all elected XCOM member because you have the opportunity to serve such a this is a big club. And same time, I also congratulate to all member of this club. You have given the opportunity to them to serve you. So with this, let me speak a little bit about the today theme. In my classroom, I learned one thing, that if you want to know about anything about the material, you must understand the atom, because atom inculcates the all property of all big material. Similarly, if you want to understand any person or want to know any person, then you have to figure out or you have to observe their habits, because all of us driven by our habits. So this is my understanding for habit and atom. But today we have someone by profession, say is a software engineer, but she is very, very focused Toastmaster. Today she is going to help us to understand what is atomic habit. So please welcome Toastmaster Komal on the virtual stage as a Toastmaster of Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Santosh. Just checking, am I audible and visible?
Yes.
Thank you. A very good evening to Presiding Officer, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guests. Congratulations to all elective members for the board. Welcome to another exciting program of fun and learning at 289th chapter meeting of Barnier Toastmaster Club. I am Toastmaster Komal, your host for the evening. Let's move on to today's theme, atomic habits. I know most of the Toastmasters already aware about today's theme, but for those who don't know what it actually means, let me explain. Here, atomic means extremely small unit of a larger system, which is source of immense energy of the power. And habit is a routine practice we perform regularly. Imagine a plane is taking off and traveling from New Delhi to Bangalore. Just before taking off, you adjust plane slightly by 3 degrees or around 80 inches. If you kept flying in a straight line, you would end up closer to Chennai in Tamil Nadu than your intended destination of Karnataka. The same goes with our habits. Tiny changes in our small habits can change the trajectory of our lives in very different way. We can't even notice until many years into focus looking back, in both good ways and bad ways. You are your habits. A slight change in your daily habits can guide your life to a very different destination. Massive action versus 1% improvement each day. Far too often, we convince ourselves that massive success is only possible through massive actions. We expect ourselves to make more quantum leap that will gain others' attention. I have faced this situation. One day, I decided let's lose some weight. I took membership of the gym, and next day I went to gym. I saw many members of the gym are lifting 8 kg weights, 10 kg weight. So I started the same. I was proud of myself that on first day, I was working out as a pro. But next day, I was unable to lift 2.5 kg of weight. That day, my trainer told me necessity of increasing your weights gradually so that it will be easier for you to remain consistent to the gym and eventually you will achieve your goal. That day I understand it is very important that you that even you change noticeable first day, even if you make some efforts on the first day, keep consistent and you will see incredible changes. When you repeat same thing again and again, your brain will understand this pattern and you will do harder things more easily with minimal efforts. Another example is brushing teeth in the night. When in my childhood it was like a big task for me, but I kept doing it every day and now it is my atomic habit. I do it automatically every day. I would like to know your experiences, your thoughts on atomic habits. Anyone, do you want to try?
Yes, I try to develop one atomic habit, reading the books, but somewhere I feel that now without reading any paragraph, it's very difficult to me in every day. So I believe that now I have the atomic habit of reading.
Yeah, that is very good. If you keep doing that, one day it will be like you will do it without any efforts. You will do it very easily. Let me explain program for the day for benefit of our guests. We have two sections today. In the first half is consist of prepared speeches. Due to XCOM today, we have only one speaker who will attempt to deliver their speech based on certain objective. The second half will be evaluation of prepared speeches, role players report, and moment of glory. Let me introduce my fellow colleagues who will help me in the control and conduct of this evening. We have just seen someone who opened this meeting with lot of energy. She is everyone's favorite. She is designer by profession and she loves drawing and sketching. Please welcome Toastmaster Hina, the Sergeant at Arms for the meeting.
Thank you.
Yes, Komal, you can continue, introduce another member.
Toastmaster Hina, could you please tell us one atomic habit that you have formed and you are proud of that?
So as I told you in my introduction message that back in 2017 or 18, when I visited one of my first conferences, I was very afraid to speak in front of people or to express my own opinions or ideas. I was just not able to speak. Even if I planned something, I was completely blank when I had to speak. So from the time of 2017 to 2021, I know I have taken very little steps and small steps, especially one of them being joining Toastmasters, that now I'm not perfect, but at least I can speak my mind in front of a lot of people. So that's about it. Thank you.
That is really good. That is a good atomic habit. To give us critical feedback for the language that we use, we have very energetic and hardworking BBA student. He likes reading book and doing yoga. He will also introduce word of the day and phrase of the day. Let us welcome Toastmaster Saish on virtual stage.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Komal. So good afternoon, everyone. And all must have been enthusiastic and excited for today's meeting and today's theme. What are habits? Same. Habits are that we inculcate every day, every time. And at every workplace, we inculcate some habit. Many habits we have inculcated since our childhood. Maybe reading books, maybe used by aggressive words from our teachers, and due to their fear, we have started reading books. But we have inculcated this habit of reading books. We have inculcated habits of sitting properly on the bench and eating our tiffin, that is dabba, very proper way without talking and in very disciplined manner. This is all we have inculcated such manners, such values, and such ethics from our teacher and from our parents. So now, word of the day is inculcate. Inculcate is something that we develop the habit, and that habit is being flourished and boosted from any of our friend or family. So is there any habit that you have, you are having any habit due to your parents? Any good habit? Can any one of you tell? What good habits?
Yes.
Yes, Santosh.
My one habit that I do not take any food without having the bath.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, okay. Funny incident. Great. But let me tell you my habit. I do not argue with my parents for any mobile phones or any laptop or any other automobile devices. But my friends do insist my parents do not care of their money or do not care about anything. Only they just insist their parents to have me a mobile, give me a tablet, please. They tell me their incidents, but I am the distinctive one. This is why this is my habit. It's been inculcated since my childhood that I do not argue with my parents for anything. In childhood, for chocolate, no. This is how the inculcate meaning is. We develop a habit that we have from our parents, from any other relatives. And the sentence is that I have inculcated habit of reading books from my teachers. Moving towards idiom of the day is, maybe I'm taking a lot of time. I'll quickly wrap it up. Idiom of the day is piece of cake. Piece of cake, you like eating cake, right? But it is not that kind of cake that you are going to eat maybe in coming festive celebrations. Piece of cake is the work that is easily achieved or that is easy to do. For example, we all are Toastmasters, and delivering these speeches in front of 5,000 people is it a piece of cake for us? Yes, because we are Toastmaster, we can think on our feet, we have the practice, we have inculcated this habit. Hence, delivering the speeches or evaluating any speeches on the spot is a piece of cake for the Toastmasters other than public. So got to know about idiom of the day, phrase of day. Now, before ending and handing over to TMOD, I would like to tell you that we have many language differences and cultural barriers, which reduces the impact of our language that we communicate. This is why I am here to help you and guide you. Feel free, ask anything related to vocabulary, related to grammar in between of the meeting or rest time also. I am not grammarian for one time or one meeting. I am grammarian for every time and for everyone. Okay, so I'll be checking bad usages and not so good usages, and a helper who are going to give you recommendation. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shesh. To keep track of the time, we have someone who is very confident, who have 10 plus years of experience in IT, working as solution architect with thought of delivering perfect solution in this imperfect world. Please welcome Toastmaster Preet on the virtual stage.
Thank you, TMOD. Dear Presiding Officer, Toastmaster of the day, and fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Yeah. So if it is about habit, so even I would like to share my thought on that as well. So as Komal mentioned, I had delivered a lot of transformation project before I joined Toastmaster. But but there was one project that was related to me, where I used to think always in terms of speaking in publicly. That was, and there was one thought which was always running in my mind, back of the mind, can I do that? But after joining the Toastmaster, based on the learning experience, based on the opportunity, I have done the transformation. Now it has become my habit, and I have done transformation from can I to I can. So that is about the habit, and that is the inculcation which I had learned from different members, and taking so many opportunity from myself. So now today's as a timer role for today, my duty is to time prepared speeches, table topic speeches, and speech evaluation during the meeting. Every speech has a time range allotted for finish time. So when a speaker reaches the minimum time allotted for the range, I will display the green card. when a speaker reaches the midpoint of the time allotted for the range, then I will display the yellow card. And then that yellow card is just giving an indication that they have to close their speech in a smoother way. And then when a speaker reaches at the end of his time allotted for the range, then I will display the red card by showing now his time is over. But even after that, speaker will be given a 30-second buffer time by which they have to close their speeches. Otherwise, the speech will be disqualified and it will be out of the broadcasting. I will report the qualifying time when I will be called for. Back to you, Tia Modi.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Please. To act as a accountant, we have a person who is game lover and digital marketing expert. Please welcome Toastmaster Moise.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Komal. So, dear President, presiding officers, Toastmaster Pradeep, fellow Toastmaster, and dear guest. Since we are meeting at every Saturday in a weekly Toastmaster meeting due to atomic habits, whether we like or not, today my duty as an accountant is to listen attentively to each speaker and make a note of each third sounds like or filler sounds like but, so, like, well, and filler phase like and so, etc. So all, if you want to speech like a piece of cake, you need to embrace the pause, think, and then speak, so you can eliminate these crunch sounds. For more details, I am pasting a useful links in a chat to avoid these crunch sounds and filler words and phrases. When called upon, I will give a report of these speaking errors back to TMOD. I am pasting the link.
Thank you, Toastmaster Moise. Toastmaster Moise, could you please tell us one atomic habit that you have formed and you are proud of that?
Well, I got atomic habit that I get up early in the morning due to my prayers, and then I do at least 1.5 prayers, and then I go for breakfast. So these are my atomic habits since last few years.
So you are waking up around 5 p.m. 5 a.m.
No, around 6 to 6.
Okay, that is good thing to learn from you.
Before the sunrise.
Yeah, before the sunrise.
Yeah.
Good to know that. Success is a product of daily habits, not a once in a lifetime it is not once in a lifetime transformation. Our habits are compound against in the form of the things like stress or negative self-talk, or they can compound for you in the form of things like knowledge, productivity, skill, and relationships. When we join Toastmasters meeting every week, we can see little improvement each time. But if we join meeting once in a while, and then we will not get any benefit. We have to practice our speeches. With that, let's begin with our first section of prepared speeches. Each project has a specific time and certain fixed objectives. That's why we call it as a project. Each project teaches us some aspect of public speaking, such as body language, vocal variety, or persuasive skill. The speakers will try to learn various aspects of their speeches. Today, our speaker will attempt level 2, project 1 for dynamic leadership pathways. The evaluator for this speech is person who is IT professional and loves painting, Toastmaster Divyesh. I request Toastmaster Divyesh to read out the objectives of the speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Divyesh.
Thank you, Dear Modi. The purpose statement is, the purpose of this project is for the member to identify his or her primary leadership style or styles. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of his or her primary leadership style or discuss leadership styles in general. Over to you, Team.
Thank you, Toastmaster Divyesh. Today, the speaker is today's speaker is working as product manager, whose hobbies are swimming and running broadcast. And what he said is he's trying to get some time every day. He is none other than our new presiding officer. Let's welcome Toastmaster Shubham. What's my style? What's my style, Toastmaster Shubham?
Good evening, everyone. Timer, can you please share your screen?
Yeah, let me share the screen. Let me know once it is visible to you.
Yes. Am I audible and visible to you?
Yes. Toastmaster, please, I think you'll have to uncheck the box.
Yeah.
Okay. So can I start? Both audio and video check done?
Yes.
Okay. What's my style? What do you guys thinking when I'm saying style? It's not that one that we are that we're seeing in our childhood days or in someone younger days by the actor named Sharman Joshi, like style mein rehne ka, or not it's my beard and mustache style. I'm not talking about this style today. I'm trying to tell you about my different kind of style. So for that, you have to come to me, come with me and see what kind of style I'm telling you. Okay, guys, so are you ready to come in my journey? Okay, I think you are ready. So good evening, presiding officer, fellow Toastmaster, and dear guest. So let me tell you one story. A few months ago, when I was some few months old in this company, and in very monotonous day, like stand up and all this kind of activities is going on. And in between that Monday, I got one mail, and that mail header shouted only one word, and that was resignation. And after that, few words come to me, and then few mails, and then few calls, and then few words. And this loop of questions is coming towards me again and again and again. And everyone is asking one single common question. Shubham, is everything is okay with your team? And I'm just, what? Says everything is okay with my team. Why they are asking it with me? Because in last few weeks, I got 4 resignation mail from my team. So first thing that come in my mind, how I can deal with it, and what's the problem in my team member, why they want to leave team. So this is the call I get from my inner voice. And during I was doing my work, I got one single question in my mind. Am I doing my work in the right way? 4 peoples in my team putting resignation. So is it my fault or my company's fault? Is it my fault or my technical team lead's fault? Just because I'm product manager, so I don't directly interact with them, but team is my ownership. So I'm just checking it's my fault or not. So for that, I'm just doing lots of processes to check. And the one question that really hurts me, I'm just checking out, is it fault in my leadership style or is it fault in my working style? And I start thinking again and again and again. And I'm trying to finding out the root cause. And for that, I'm just looking lots of processes. I'm trying to talk to them and how I can transform my leadership style, this kind of things going on in my mind. And in this duration, I like to talk to every person who put the resignation, who are not putting the resignation, they are working happily, or they are not happy with the work, they are not happy with the culture. Each and every person, I talk to each and everyone in the team, or apart from different team, like different managers team. So first I talk to the persons who putting down the resignation, and I got few responses, and that was like, they feel bored. There was a lame kind of, this is not very lame kind of excuse for putting the resignation. I'm feeling bored, so I'm putting resignation. That's not the right thing. So I talk to more persons, and some person are giving me very legit kind of response, and that was, they are saying they want to be part of the team and they want to be part of company, but their team leads, or the person who are assigning the task to them or taking feedbacks from them, they are not very collaborative. They are not giving them right kind of work or not helping them, and that really hampers their growth. I understand this thing, just because everyone is thinking towards their career growth, but if they are not getting the nurturing environment, they are not able to survive in the industry. And then I talk to the team leads, different technical team leads, front end lead, back end lead, mobile lead, QA lead. I talk to everyone. I just want to take their feedbacks, why these peoples are putting papers. So some team leads are giving me very good response, like they are not able to cope up, or they are saying they are facing issues from lots of time. They are trying to switch to another company. And some are giving me very different kind of response, like that they are not getting output. This is one of the legit response I got. But the another one is, they don't want to work. This is not the way of leader to deal with their team. If they don't want to work, we have to communicate them. We have to understand their problem and fill the gap. So the root cause I got in between the team leads and the team members. And the root cause is a big, huge communication gap in between the members and in between their technical team leads. This thing tricks my mind, and I come with one solution, and I try to do an activity with the team that fills the gap in between them, and I take as a challenge to transform the process and create some new process that helps me to retain the members before their notice period. So my concern is not to retain, but my concern is to transform process. So if anyone new is coming to the office, if he is new, he or she is new, so they can got the good and enriching environment. So for the next few weeks, I start practicing to communicate and try to understand what they really want. Like example, if I think any kind of training session they want, any kind of feedback session they want, or any kind of one-to-one communication they want. And the next week, I came with one program that named Gossip Driven Session. And that session consists of general talk between each and every team member on Fridays. And in that, they will talk and learn. And they just want to, they just have to tell us what they learn and what they lose. And the person who learned a lot in this week, they will teach that learning skills to each and everyone in the team. After a few weeks, I'm going for the feedback, and after practicing this for the whole month, for the 4 weeks, and the month is over, and I check with the developers and each and every persons, and I saw some developers learn QA skills, some developers learn interpersonal skills, some developers learn English, just because some are regional persons, so they don't know how to communicate in English, and they are very shy just because of these. So everyone learned something, and in between all of these, they learned how to be grateful with the team. And in between all this process, I learned and understand my leadership style, and that was participative and transformative leadership style. And that gives me a very enriching experience that helped me a lot in my future career. So this is from my side. Thank you.
That was an awesome speech, Toastmaster Shubham. How Toastmaster Shubham finds issue and help his team to improve and learn. And also he improved his leadership style. Let us pause for 30 seconds to write feedback for this speaker. Please share your feedback privately, only with the speaker using the chat feature. Okay. We will enter into new year in less than 15 days. And we always set new goals every year. This time, I want all of you forget about goals and focus on your system instead. A goal is a result of what you want to accomplish. Systems deal with the process that lead to result. There are some problems with only having goals. Successful and unsuccessful people share the same goals. So therefore, goal cannot be differentiated between winners from losers. Achieving a goal only change your life for a moment in a life, for a moment in a time. Goals can create either or conflict. Either you achieve goal and succeed, or you don't and you are a failure. Even if you were making progress in a right direction, when you achieve a goal, what to do next? If your goal was running the local marathon, chances are after completing it, your motivation will quickly fade and you will just slip back and you are just slip back to your old routines. Goals are good for setting direction, but systems are best for making progress. A system of atomic habits. The problem with changing your habit is not you. The reason why you repeat the same bad habit for so long, it's not because you don't want to change. It's not because you don't want to change, but because you have a wrong system of change. Atomic habits are small routines and behavior that togetherly produce incredible positive outcome over the time. Breakthroughs tend to get more attention than small improvements. But what really matters is little daily decisions and action we take. Just as atoms, the building block of molecule, atomic habits are building blocks of remarkable results. We have evaluators who can help us to improve, revise our system again and again. Now it's time for evaluation. I call upon the stage general evaluator who will take us through the evaluation section. He is someone who is digital manager in IT company. Toastmaster Santosh. Let's welcome Toastmaster Santosh.
Thank you, Toastmaster Komal, and I hope and good evening again as a general evaluator of this meeting. I hope that you will learn a lot, all will learn a lot about the atomic habits and as well as the system. System make you successful. So in Toastmaster, we have system. We have the system about the evaluation and getting the feedback for the betterment. So I am in the mission. I have only two objectives: to know and share. First, what we have done great. And second, what could be improved. With this meeting, with this objective, I am starting my evaluation session. So in this session, we have one speech evaluators. Before that, let me call Toastmaster Preet to understand what are the timing guideline of the evaluation speeches. So Toastmaster Preet, could you help us? What is the timing of the?
Surely, for the evaluation, the allotted time range from 2 to 3 minutes, where 2 is the minimum duration of time and 3 is the maximum duration of time. So minimum duration, which indicate that the evaluation should be for the 2 minutes to qualify further, and the maximum it can be stretched up to the 3 minutes. Back to you, Pratia Modi.
Thank you, Toastmaster Preet. Now the time to call evaluators. All we know that evaluation is not piece of cake. It is art. It is a skill which we learn and earn from the various kind of the practice. From various kind of practice means participating in the Toastmaster meeting. So to evaluate the speech delivered by Subham, we have someone, solution architect in IT company. So please welcome Toastmaster Devesh on the virtual stage.
Thank you, General Evaluator. So I can't see the timer screen. Okay. Yeah, now I can see. Yeah, Preet.
Let me know if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready now. Yeah. So good evening, presiding officer, fellow Toastmaster, and dear guests. So my target speaker has delivered a wonderful speech today. It was on leadership style. And first of all, I want to congratulate for delivering this speech with a lot of energy. It was a really wonderful speech. You started well, but one point when you are starting with a lot of questions and you are not getting answer from the audience, so that part you could have little bit prepare well. So starting was little average, and one comment on that, you have asked question, you have mentioned about Sharman Joshi, which many people may not know, right? So I suggest that you work little bit on starting part. Now coming back to story was fantastic. You have built up very well. Overall, you have suggest the problems, mention problems very clearly. That was a really fantastic. So when you suggest your problem, like you are all the four resignation is your main center. Why people are getting doing resignations and what's the issue. So that you have crafted very well. Plus the resolution, whatever you have given, like you provided some solution, like how you have to communication, your team needs to communication with the leadership, their team lead. So that was fantastic. And you have set up the process which is really required for any professional or any company. Better process, life easier. So that was a good thing. Transformation, good enriching experience, training, feedback, all activities, whatever you have done so far, it was on right track. Few recommendation, one I have already given on starting part. Another one is, you whenever you are speaking, you have to provide your stand first. So let's say you have not mentioned that you are a product manager, so audience will not know that what story you are talking, right? Teams are doing resignations, but they don't know what your position. So that you have mentioned later on, that you are not a team lead, you are a product manager. So that's what you first have to mention, what you are doing in that particular story. That is the one thing. Second thing is the content. So people understand, I mean, there were little repetition of the content of why people are doing resignation and all, and why, because a few things are quite understandable to audience, so that you can avoid, that you can cut short, and also put some good idioms or word of the day or phrase of the day that will help. So overall, I suggest it was a really fantastic speech, and overall you have to complete your leadership. You have completed your leadership style project. So objective has met. I wish you all the best for your next speech. Over to you, General Manager.
Thank you, Toastmasters. The ways it's really commendable evaluation, and I hope that it's really work for the speaker to implement your recommendations on his speech in future. With this, I think today we have only one speaker. So, timer, could you share the timing of the delivered speech?
Yeah, for sure. So, first of all, even I'm very happy and I'm very proud to say that our all Toastmasters in the club, they have so much knowledge, so much vocabulary, so much information. So even the allotted time itself is not sufficient to express the thing, whether it is about speech or whether it is evaluation. But process is process, and that's why we have time running behind us. It is time started when the universe is started, and time will be there even after universe. Once universe will end, then also time will be there. So considering that thing, Shubham's speech took time of 8 minutes 32 seconds, and for evaluation, Divyesh took 3 minutes 50 seconds.
So both are not qualified for. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Toastmaster Preet, to sharing the timing. It's fine that we cross the allotted time range, but one thing that I enjoyed thoroughly as a speaker speech and evaluator speech. Now time to present my report for other role player. So let me start my report with Sergeant at Arms. The person who start the meeting.
Hello,
The
Santosh.
toast. Sorry.
Sorry to interrupt, but first I think we have to go for language evaluator R counter report. Then we will.
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I break my thought. Yeah. Yes. So now it's time. It's now time to call on a stage for the other role player. Other role player means that R counter. So please welcome Toastmaster Moise on the virtual stage to present his R counter report.
Thank you, Santosh. So this is the also one type of atomic habits that we need to share reports of any kind of roles like a counter, timer, language evaluator, and everything. So this is my report. I have shared that Toastmaster Hina, Toastmaster Shubham, Komal, Toastmaster Divyesh has taken unnecessary crowd sounds like less than 5, and Toastmaster Preet has taken more than 5 crowd sounds. And Toastmaster Shubham, Komal, Toastmaster Preet, and
It's only me who lost or everything lost, Moise?
I think we lost the Moise, right? Moise, are you there? Oh, so meanwhile, we can call. Hello, I'm audible?
Yes, Santosh.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So meanwhile, let's call the grammarian on the virtual stage. So please welcome Toastmaster Size as a grammarian, and he's going to present language report. Toastmaster Size.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster Santosh. So I'm glad, even though the meeting was short, I had 2 or 3 words, but that words and some recommendations that are very few. It can be helpful to you. Every minute and every single issue can be solved by a problem that we do not expect to. So now let's welcome. As I said, I'm the one, your helper, help you to flourish your language. Here is my report. Some of the metaphors that I have noticed is success is product. That is, success is compared to a particular product. Metaphors and some things like monotonous, then some rhyming words like learn, earn. Now, these are the good usages based on the protocols and based on the situations. For example, metaphors, rhyming words. These are the things that I am exaggerating only. You may understand the importance of grammar in a language. As I'm a helper, I won't step back even if there are no good usages or bad usages. I am the one to catch the good usages and explain in various situations. This is why education has been telling us whether good usages are structured in different manners and different ways. And these are my insights using today's meeting. So congratulations for applying various insights and various structures of grammar for today's meeting. Now proceeding towards the not so good usages. Well, take it lightly. Now someone said harder things. It should be complex things. And one other thing is someone used once in a while we attend the meeting. So you can have used the phrase or idiom. For example, many phrases like once in a blue moon, many people attend Toastmaster. This is how flourishes your language and grammar. This is how a helper helps you. But the important thing that is left is word of the day and idiom of the day. And those whoever have tried, all the best and congrats for taking a step and taking initiative. So let's come up to word of the day has been used by very rare people, and that is our timer, Toastmaster Preet. But congrats for using that word and applying it. Well, you will hear these words in your future, and there you won't face any issue, and then thank me for this. Well, a joke, but proceeding with idiom of the day is Toastmaster Mais and Toastmaster Santosh. These are the people who have very passion in grammar and English and language. So I congratulate all of you for trying word of the day and idiom of the day. This is my grammarian report. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sais, for the wonderful language reports. And believe me, it's really help all of us to understand how to make our language more better. With this, now my time to present my report for all role player. So let me start my report with first person who start this meeting. The first person who start this meeting, Toastmaster Hina, as a sergeant at arms. The Toastmaster Hina, you start meeting on the time. You explain the club mission with full confidence. You also help us to understand the rules of this meeting. Apart from this, you open meeting with the theme. Means that you spoke something and some really remarkable on the opening line. So in that way, all audience were sync with the theme of the meeting. So kudos to you and no recommendations. Please big round of applause for our Toastmaster Hina. Now, another role player, Toastmaster Moise. Toastmaster Moise, you present and introduce your role very well. You spoke very confidently on the theme and explain about your role, that what you are going to do. In your report, you mention all crush sounds and speakers as well. Your report was more like analytic report where everything is clear. And you also mentioned that who were the flawless speaker. Kudos to you. No recommendation. Our second role player, third role player, Toastmaster Preet, timer. Timer are very important. No matter are you in the Toastmaster or are you in the cricket, player. Timing is good. If you miss the timing, you will get definitely bowled. So, but we are fortunate that we have very good timer. Toastmaster Preet, you mentioned your role very well. You explain in your role what you are going to do. You explain that how the card would be displayed and how and what is the allotted time range. Apart from this, you also spoke on the theme. And one thing I noticed that even though both speakers were disqualified as per timing point of view, but you start or declaring the result with the positive word that our both speakers are so much knowledgeable. So this so that what kind of the attitude you have. By default, you have the positive attitude. So no recommendation, keep it up. Kudos to you. Big round of applause, Toastmaster Preet. Now, second, our fourth and important, language evaluators. Toastmaster says, you presented word of day and phrase of day in well advance. Both word of day and phrase of day very much sync with the theme and intention of the theme. You also presented how many people use the word of day, how many people use the word phrase of day. You also mentioned in a report good uses and not so good uses. And in your introduction speech, you mentioned that what you are going to do in this role. And apart from this, you also spoke on the theme. I do not have any big recommendation, but I have some suggestion that would be not only for you, but others who will going to take in future grammar report. In some time, what happened in language, there is no clarity. No clarity means that the word could be used in one way in one context and same word can be used another way in other contexts. As you said that somebody said that once in a while, you said this is wrong or not good uses. I would say that let's use this word and use this phrase. Somebody said once in a while. Let's make it more effective once a blue moon. So in that way, you give the message that how things can be make better and better. Only these recommendations and suggestions not only for you, but all others, those going to participate or taking the role as a grammarian or language. Apart from this, you have done great job. Kudos to you. And our main character, though the topic was atomic, but believe me, your role was not atomic. Toastmaster Komal, I say Toastmaster of Day. I think you have taken this role after a very long time. But I never recognized that you are doing this role after a long time. The confidence, the communication style, and the knowledge of subject is telling that how much you have command on your communications. You start the theme with powerful word, powerful method to engaging the audience. That is called the asking the question. Putting your thought in audience brain, that is the master skills of all speaker. And I know that you have this. You ask many questions regarding habits and atomic habits. You mention your personal experience for the small things like losing the weight, because personal experience really impact a lot to the human. And second, that you also encourage the audience to give the response on your questions. This so that you know the technique how to engage the audience. Means that you know how to make any meeting two-way communication rather than one-way communication. So kudos to you. I have also noticed that you have released some message and poster in WhatsApp group so that people start taking the roles and getting the mind about the meeting. From my side, at this, you are fantastic. No recommendations, only one recommendation: take role frequently. With this, my another presiding officer, it was me. So not I have no any recommendation and no suggestion. When I see my video, then I can share. But I just one thing that that was really great, and meeting were started with the proper theme and the agenda. Overall, in general, overall meeting is really fruitful. I'll learn a lot from the theme and speech and evaluators and role player, Grameen role player, AHA counters report, role players, and even AHA counters also share, Toastmaster Moise share one link where we can understand how can we remove the speaking error. I think we were on time, and today, as I said, that this was a really big meeting because we elected and find the new leaders. And this is beauty of the Toastmaster. The Toastmaster create the leaders and leader create the new leaders. So with this, I am handovering virtual stage to our TMOD Toastmaster Komal.
Thank you, Toastmaster Santosh. That was a great evaluation session and feedback. Now we will vote for the best role player for the day. Toastmaster Santosh.
I think Subham would be release the poll. Subham, are you there?
Santosh, I'm not the host. You will share.
I'll release the poll.
Okay.
Best speaker first? No, there wouldn't be any role play.
There will be only for role players.
Okay, I'm ending the poll in the next 1 second. Should I release the best auxiliary role player?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to get one more vote. Yes. Okay. I'm ending the poll now.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hina. Now, coming to the end, the most effective way to change your habits It's to focus on what you want to achieve. It's not on what you want to achieve, but on who you want to become. Becoming a base version of yourself requires you continuous edit of beliefs and to upgrade and expand your identity. I hope you take some motivation from today's meeting and form a new atomic habit and get what you want to achieve in your life. Now, it's moment of glory for some of us. Let's invite our presiding officer to give away the awards, make announcements.
Thank you, Toastmaster Komal. And this was really wonderful meeting, and you have done fabulous job. Now, time to take some feedback from our guest. The toast. So, guest Vivek, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here only. Yeah.
So we would love to hear you about this meeting and your experience.
Yeah. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. Yeah, this is my very first day. So that the whatever I'm expecting, all things are happening over there. So everything is organized, everything timely managed, and everything is outstanding. So that's a great thing that you are managing the things and everything is going with the plan and according to plan. So that's a really nice or wonderful thing that's the that's I wanted to say only.
Thank you, thank you, guest
Vivek.
Vivek. You well said that the Toastmaster basically it's provide one opportunities apart from the communication that develop the atomic habit for the structural thinking. Keep everything on structure and in one format. You well said. And if you need more information about Toastmaster, International Toastmaster and Bane Toastmaster, please connect or share your contact detail. Definitely you have we have your contact detail. Our VPM Toastmaster Shivani or Subham will contact you.
Okay, sure. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Now I think we are ready for the moment for glory. So Toastmaster Subham, are we ready or you need some time?
The winner's name.
On chat.
Can you send me in chat?
Okay.
Just
so yes, take your time. Now I have one question for the Komal. Komal, what is your one good atomic habit that you recently inculcate in your behavior?
Okay, so I like reading books, and last year I thought I made the target that I will read 20 books a year.
Oh,
but in 10 months I didn't complete any book. So after that, one friend of mine gave me this book, Atomic Habits, and I started reading this book like small little 2-3 pages or one chapter once a day, and get to know that what is the importance of atomic habits and why we should do this. So yeah, this is my hobby. Like I'm reading like one chapter, two chapter each day, and I am at the end of the book right now. So yeah, this is
great. This is really a baby step, but believe me, if you go with this baby step, definitely it's a milestone for your life. And Toastmaster Preet, are you there? I think Toastmaster Preet. Toastmaster Divesh.
mute. Yes. You're on mute, Preet.
Yes.
Yeah. So Toastmaster Divesh, do you think that atomic habit is really important? Better is to create the big habit?
Yes, it is very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take any example, let's say if somebody wants to lose a weight, right? So in 1 or 2 days, he won't be, or 1 month, he won't be able to lose, right? It will take little time. So daily, he needs to put some efforts on his workout on and food habits also he needs to improve.
Okay, so it means that if we every day we eat the one burger or pizza, it's not going to major impact, right? Because it will be that atomic habit.
Yes. So
thank you, Toastmaster Devesh, sharing your thoughts on this. Now we are ready with the results. So please let me announce who is the best auxiliary role player. So today is best auxiliary role player, our timer Toastmaster Preet. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And now best role player goes to master of this meeting and master of the theme, Toastmaster Komal. Toastmaster, this is atomic habit that make you mean the enlarge in this meeting. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Think we have taken the picture and
No,
yeah.
1 minute.
Can we take one more picture with Toastmaster Preet?
Preet, you have to given the time.
Can we also change the screen sharing to his certificate? The screen sharing says Toastmaster Komal. Toastmaster.
Shubham, yeah.
Yes, thank you. Done. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Preet. And thank you, Toastmaster Hina, to making this movement for forever. And I think we have done with the moment of glory.
Yeah, let's take one picture.
Okay. Komal, right?
Yes, that's done.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, Toastmaster Shubham, you can disable this screen. So with this, let's big round the applause of all this meeting we have done and the learning. And second thing that we have elected our new XCOM member, those who are going to take this club on next height in coming days. And congratulations, elected new XCOM officer. So with this, let me adjourn this meeting. And before that, let's go with the group photo so that we can make this meeting forever. So any gesture, this kind of thing, gesture? Yes.
Done.
Are we done? Yes.
Thank you.
So with this, let me adjourn this meeting and open for the fellowship.